Liar, liar, pants on fire. I'm sure you might remember that old line when you were a kid, or I think there was a Saturday night, or I can't remember. There was a movie that used that. It wasn't Saturday Night Live. But lies. I wanted to talk to you about lies and why lies are the undoing of mankind and your self-confidence and your psyche. I'm John, your Mindset Moto guy, and welcome to your daily UpShift video. So today is day 2 of our 30-day run, and we're going to talk about lies and lying. So, we all lie, whether we think so or not, whether we know, maybe we don't tell big, terrible, giant lies, little white lies. We've all learned to do that as a kid. You learned to protect yourself from getting in trouble, or to get along with other people that you thought were cool, or bullies. You just told them what they wanted to hear. Telling somebody what they want to hear is lying, frankly. There's no pretty way around that. So if you haven't lied, I'm impressed, but I think you're lying to somebody. But the biggest thing is the chance of lying to yourself is the biggest issue of all, because then if you lie to yourself about doing things or stopping doing things, or you're going to start doing things, you lie to yourself and then you let yourself down. It's a big deal. So lying is a huge component of everybody's life at some degree or another. And I said, I'm not running around saying that I'm making giant, huge lies. That's ridiculous. In fact, my dad always laughed at this, but it was so true. He said, I never lie to anybody. He says, because I don't have the energy or the brain power to remember who I lied to and who I told the truth to. So it's just a lot easier to remember the truth and tell it. So I always thought that was a great business strategy and life strategy, but it just rings so true. So, but in the meantime, lying to others is one thing, but if you lie to others, you're lying to yourself about certain things. Like, hey, you know what? Today's the 1st of the month, and it's Monday. So, how many people last week decided that they were going to start a fitness regimen, or they were going to start eating better, or they were going to start doing this, or they were going to go for walks, or do 10,000 steps a day, and you sat over the weekend and didn't do it, or you sat all week and said, I'll start it on the 1st of the month, I'll start it on Monday, okay? You're just telling yourself that you want to do something, you're meaning to do it, but it's just a lie. You're not going to do it because now comes around the 1st of the month, and maybe you'll do it for a day or two, and then maybe you'll stop. Maybe you'll do it for a week, then you stop. And the problem is that every time you stop, your body, your mind just says, see, I knew you were lying. I knew we weren't going to be able to do this. So we're back to normal. Yahoo! I don't have to work. I don't have to stretch myself. I don't have to get uncomfortable. So I could just say the feel-good thing, the New Year's resolutions that all go away in the first few weeks. All right, and it's just we're lying to ourselves to feel good in the moment, to get a little hit of dopamine, and it feels really good because that is underneath. It might be the thing that we really want to do, but the fact is that we don't have the tools to do it, and that every time we tell ourselves that little lie, we just demoralize our character and our self-identity, and our true identity just keeps getting buried and buried and buried inside of us. So this is why lying is such a huge deal. And again, we learn to lie as kids to protect ourselves, to avoid conflict, to just to stay stay under the radar, if you will, right? And then as adults, we continue that habit because we're good at it, and we continue to do it maybe at work, where you feel like you have to lie because you're in a situation where you have to say things a certain way because corporate wants to hear what they want to hear. And maybe that's your situation. So you feel like you can, you have to say only what they want to hear. And if you ever saw the movie Office Space, which if you haven't, I highly recommend it. Not a sponsor, but it would be cool. If you ever saw Office Space, the one dude ends up not able to lie and completely carefree and literally just speaks his mind at this cubicle, terrible office space work. And he's so blatantly off the chain with telling the truth that people actually embrace him and like him, and they don't know why, because he's literally just saying everything that they're all pent up and afraid to say because they're just yes man, and their avoidance is the key to their meager survival of this whole situation at work. And when he comes in and just blatantly disregards the office politics and the office culture and does his own thing, it really throws things for a loop, and people just don't even know how to handle it. And it's just so true, because we have this certain expectation of how things are supposed to be, so we mold ourselves into a certain kind of way. How many different versions of you are there? I know I have a few, and there's definitely reason to do that in certain settings. Yeah, if I'm hanging out and I'm working with the young kids at the curling club, yes, I'm going to be a little different than maybe I am in a meeting with a business person. Maybe not. But there is definitely some reason for some difference in the different way you carry yourself in certain situations. But as far as hiding the truth by just omitting the truth is really a lie. Not telling how you feel about something. How's work going? Are you comfortable with work? Yeah, I'm okay. Just keep my mouth shut. Get my 2% raise at next year, because I didn't make too many waves, and I just move under. I keep my nose clean. These are just terrible ways to live. So many people live this way. So many people live in this stupid lie, and they're unhappy. And the cultures in these companies have been created so that's the norm, and it's really horrible. We've got a lot of incredible people that are just stifling themselves because they're just afraid to upset to rock the boat or upset the apple cart, whatever you want to think of it. They're all changing the way they behave because they think that that's what other people want, and maybe it is if they're in a situation like that, but it's not healthy. So lying is a huge part of our everyday living, sadly, and we don't even realize it. And I said, it's just, we think of lies as like if somebody says, hey, were you there that night? No, I wasn't there. I was on the other side of town. Well, yeah, that's a lie, but that's really, those are the major, things we think about, but those aren't the life-changing, crazy lies that we live. These little lies that build up every single day. And it's a big issue. So I want you to sit and figure out some things that you lie about. Write some things down, and then start to look at it and say, you know what, I'm not going to lie anymore about this stuff. I had a friend who was, had been drinking for years and years and years. Was a big drinker, and he was trying to stop drinking. He would stop drinking for a couple days or a couple weeks or a couple of months, and then something had happened, and he'd go right back to it because he felt terrible, and then he felt guilty every time he went back and started doing it again. Like smoking, how many people they quit smoking or quit vaping, and then they go back to it a couple months later, and then they quit again, they go back. Well, every time it gets harder to quit, because every time they go back to it, they've demoralized themselves because they're lying. So finally, his mentor looked at him and said, stop trying to quit drinking. He said, it's not working, it hasn't worked. Stop quitting, stop trying to quit. He said, it's just a waste of energy. It's pulling the rug out from under your ability to stay moving. He says, and just focus on who you want to become the day you're no longer drinking. And he said, and start to focus your energy toward that, and saying, this is who I'm going to become. This is who I am when I'm not drinking. This is who I'm going to, the business person I'm going to be, or the father I'm going to be, or the whatever I'm going to be when I'm not drinking. I'm going to be this guy. And all of a sudden, over time, he just stopped picking up a drink and stopped drinking, and he'll never drink again, because he was becoming that person that he really wanted to be. So it wasn't about getting rid of the alcohol. It was about implanting this new idea and making that the sole focus of his daily life was to become that person. And even though he wasn't really becoming that person yet, he was convincing himself every day that that was the person he was going to be. And he was focusing on that person, and that person wasn't able to involve alcohol in their life because of the things they were doing. And at a certain point, his brain triggered a switch and said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And it's kind of weird, because is that sort of a lie? Well, not really. You're just saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to be that person. And the key was, he wasn't trying to pressure himself to get rid of a negative. He was focusing on getting to a positive. And he wasn't worried about being that person. He was just focused on every day making a decision that I am going to be that person when I don't drink anymore. This is the person I'm going to be. And the more he focused on that, the more it became his target. And then one day he realized that he didn't need drinking. Drinking was just in the way, and so he stopped. So just wanted to kind of run that by you and have you think about that a little bit. It wasn't about getting rid of the negative. It was about focusing on the positive and focusing on a life without that, a life without that terrible job that's running you down and making you feel horrible. It's not a matter, oh God, I just can't. Someday when I get done with this job, or when I retire, I'll be able to live my life. And you just can't see a way out, and it just demoralizes you, which it really does. And it's a bad situation. And it could be anything, but the idea is to just stop focusing on that negative thing. Stop giving it the energy. Stop lying to yourself and say, I'm just going to quit doing that. I'm going to quit you. Sorry, it's a movie quote. And focus on what you want to do, what you're going to do, and who you're going to become when you no longer are in that circumstance. Whether that's in a relationship, a living situation, a job, an abusive situation, some sort of chemical abuse or gambling, or whatever it is. Just stop focusing on trying to get rid of it, and focus on deciding that you're going to become the person that doesn't need that in your life to be who you want to be. And it'll start to fade away. And then suddenly you'll be looking back and saying, wow, it's gone. I don't even want it anymore. There's no relapse. There's no nothing, because the focus is there. So with that, I hope you have an amazing day. If this is any interest at all to you, reach down and hit that subscribe button and follow me. I'm going to be putting stuff out every single day. I'm going out for a ride. If the weather's terrible or really stormy or thundery, where it might be dangerous, I'll figure out a different plan. But other than that, I'm planning to do every day, 30 days, and post a video for you guys, and let me know. So have a good day, ride well, ride often. Ciao.